There we
Welcome to
go.
Crypto Kid Podcast. I appreciate you coming on, Alex, and it's an honor. So, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself and the company?
Sure. So first of all, happy to be there, and thank you for for having me on the Crypto Kid podcast. A few words about myself. I've been in the high tech world for quite a while now, so you can see a little bit from my white hair. And I've been both in corporates and in startups. About half of my career in corporates and half of it in startups, in B2B and B2C. I've been with companies delivering voicemail and value-added services to telco operators, product lifecycle management, online farmers markets, online digital gift card malls, you name it, a lot of them. And recently, I've joined to run a business that was as I mentioned earlier, a digital gift card mall.
Mm-hmm.
And that was about probably 7 years ago now. And one of the main issues we've had there was dealing with fraud. I don't know if you're familiar with payment fraud in general, but it's a pretty significant issue, especially with digital goods. And we launched our site in the UK, and we're very happy on the first week because we ran out of inventory. And then a week later, we were very sad because we realized that 40% of that 40 came back as chargebacks, which is obviously not great.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we learned, how difficult it is to sell digital assets and digital goods online, and decided to invest in it heavily. My partner is Ziv, is our CTO, was the CTO there and is the CTO here. We've invested heavily in building the infrastructure to be able to cope with fraud on our own, because none of the tools that we were trying to use was doing a good enough job. And probably around the end of 17 and beginning of 18, we realized that what we've built could be used by others, and it's probably more more significant than the entire marketplace we've built. It was pretty big at the time. We were doing slightly more than 100 million a year. So, a lot of volume, a lot of transactions, a lot of people. But the technological value that we've developed was around, fighting fraud, and decided to spin it out, and actually brought in external investors to acquire the technology and the team, and created a new company based on that, which is nSure.ai, which is the company I'm with today. Ziv is with me, is my partner, and we've been growing the company nicely over the last few years. We're now almost 50 people, based in Israel. About half of us in Israel. I want to say about a third in the US, and the rest in Europe. And dealing primarily with fraud for digital assets.
That's pretty amazing. And exciting how you guys grew, and then you guys are continuing to keep growing, especially like fraud. So everything that happened with FTX, I'm pretty sure people don't really have any transparency with cryptocurrency and their trust. And I'm glad to see that you guys are trying to fight that and protect from companies doing fraud. So, like, is it a legal company, or do you guys have like lawyers to help fight against fraud? How does that work exactly?
No. So we're a technology company, and we're not fighting the type of fraud that eventually broke FTX.
Mm-hmm.
Not getting into the details on that, obviously. I think that there are a lot of people that are way more knowledgeable than I am on that front. What we're dealing with is what is called payment fraud. So payment fraud is something that happens when a fraudster is using your credit card information, your PayPal information, your bank account information to steal goods online. So he would be using your credit card information. He would be going on Binance, and he would be buying crypto using your credit card. And when that happens, you as a consumer, so let's say he's actually using your credit card. As a consumer, you're always protected when it's a credit card. Because if you call the issuing company, the bank that issued your credit card, and you tell them that was not my transaction, you go through your, the list of transaction, the printout of transaction, you say, hey, that's, on the statement, that's not my transaction, they'll give you the funds back. You'll have to convince them a little bit, not much. But once they're convinced that it was not your transaction, they'll provide you the funds back. What you don't know as a consumer is where do they get the funds from? And the reality is, if someone used it on Binance, they get it from Binance. So the merchant who sold the goods, whatever the goods are, to the fraudster is the one left with the pay.
Okay.
For any kind of what's called a card not present transaction, the merchant that took the transaction, whoever processed the transaction, is liable for the fraud.
So how do you guys detect that? Do you guys report that to authorities and
Very
pin them
rarely,
down?
very rarely. What we do is in real time, we reject these transactions.
Okay.
So we protect Binance. So we help companies such as Binance. We don't work with Binance, so I'm using their name as a pseudonym for crypto exchanges, and we have other exchanges we do work for. So what we do is we integrate with them, and in real time online, we're able to track everything that happens on the site. And then just before someone is taking a transaction, they'll ask us whether to accept it or reject. We'll answer yes or no, and we will take the liability, meaning if we're wrong and eventually a transaction that we approved turns out to be fraudulent, we will pay for the fraud.
Oh, okay.
So we actually protect the merchant completely.
Thank you for clarifying that for us. So what's your expectations of the company, of nSure?
From what perspective?
Where do you see, what's your demands to protect against fraud? Your team, how do you want them? Okay, this is a goal, or this customer is coming here and they're really upset. They have let's say they have $100,000 from fraud, and you guys are really trying to cool them down. What do you expect your team to do and handle that high tense situation?
So it's I think it's a bit more complicated than that, to be honest.
Okay.
The main thing we're trying to do is we're trying to help merchants approve more.
Okay.
So let me take a step back for a minute. So because this is such a painful problem, and in crypto it's even more painful than in others. And let me steer you away for a minute and explain why this is so difficult in crypto, or why so painful in crypto. So, think about in general online. If you're an online retailer, you're an online merchant, whatever you're selling, whether you're selling shoes or crypto, or you're transferring funds, or you're selling iPhones, you're liable for the fraud that happens on your site, always. It is very different from a fraudster perspective, whether you're selling digital goods and assets or physical. The reason for that is that when these are digital goods, it is very attractive for fraudsters that do this as a business. You put yourself in their shoes. Fraudsters that do this as a business, what they do is they go on the dark web, they buy a list of stolen financial instruments. Financial instruments are credit card information, bank account information, PayPal information, whatever payment information. They buy them, they pay per device, right? So they pay per line on this long Excel file that has many credit cards. Per line, they pay somewhere between $10 and $50. And now they need to turn that into more cash. How do you do that when you have a list of stolen credit cards? You buy things and you sell them. So now imagine the difference between buying and reselling 1,000 iPhones or 1,000 shirts, and buying and reselling 1,000 codes for a game on Xbox, or 1,000 Walmart gift cards, digital gift cards, or buying crypto and then off-ramping it somewhere else completely, in complete anonymity. So from a fraudster perspective, it is way more profitable, way more lucrative to attack sites that sell digital assets. As a result of that, they invest more. And as a result of that, you see fraud patterns that are very difficult to fight. You see fraud pressure that is very difficult. For that reason, crypto exchanges and on-ramps see lots of fraud coming in, trying to come in. And they believe that the only thing that they have at their disposal is declining transactions. So what do you do when you think a transaction is fraudulent? You decline it.
Okay.
And then what happens for fraud for crypto exchanges? They decline a lot, and the average numbers in the industry are staggering. You would see more than 50% of the people that try to buy crypto getting declined. More than 50%.
That's happened to me before.
Sorry?
It's happened to me before.
It's happened to anyone who has ever bought crypto. There's no question. And it's happening even more for those that come for the first time for a certain exchange. So once you've been, shopping on not shopping, buying your assets on a certain exchange for a while, you have a better chances of success. When it's the first time you go on a certain exchange, it's way lower than 50% for you to get accepted. Even with the KYC, even with taking your picture and taking it near the driver's license or passport or whatever they're asking you, the chances of you getting approved is very small. What we're trying to do is we're trying to help them grow the approval rates. Because what we do is we identify fraud based on whoever is behind the scenes, based on their behavior. We're not trying to gather identity information because from our experience, let's call it the talented fraudsters or those that do it as a business, they would go through all the hoops and loops you give them. They'll do that very well, and you'll end up with a fraud, and you'll reject many good customers. That's what really happens. So what we do is we try to avoid that. And as a result of that, we help grow the business. So it's not really only about fighting fraud. It's really about helping them grow the business, because the only means they have today to avoid the fraud is decline transactions. And by that decline, a lot of legitimate shoppers.
Are you referring like grow the business to like Binance and other exchanges?
All of them, yes.
Okay.
Any of these, there are, I think there are two primary, I think, or maybe three primary types of companies that are suffering from this in the crypto world. It's the big exchanges, and it's the on-ramp solutions. Companies such as Ramp Network, as Banxa, as MoonPay, if you're familiar with them. These are the companies that help other exchanges on-ramp, right? They help them take fiat and convert it into crypto. These are the companies that suffer. And now recently, we're seeing more and more NFT marketplaces that have decided to accept fiat as well, credit cards or bank accounts, and they suffer from the same problem as well. Once you are allowing fiat to be used to purchase crypto or NFTs, you open yourself to a lot of fraud.
Okay. Now it's all starting to make sense to me now. So what's your roadmap for 2023?
So we're seeing really interesting patterns in the clients we're working with in the last couple of years. We're seeing a lot of social engineering patterns. We're seeing a lot of scalable fraud attacks that are it's machines, right? It's all bots that are trying to flood the site and buy as much as they can. So our roadmap is primarily, from a technology perspective, is staying ahead of the fraudsters. We have, we're based on machine learning. The entire infrastructure is machine learning based. So it's training our models for each of the clients to make sure that we're as accurate as possible, and it's adding many more features on each and every one of those based on attacks that we're seeing. So there's a lot of work there, but the most important element, I think, is expanding our reach within crypto and NFT. We're working with a number of very large players now to include our services as part of their platform, and that would be a major milestone for us in 2023.
Okay. Now, the crypto winter, everybody is kind of feeling blue and is not really hyped about cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. So how are you embracing this? Is it like weeding out weeding out those who are not really involved with crypto that just jump on the train? Does it make sense?
Yeah, no. So I'll tell you what we're seeing. So what we're seeing is we're seeing a lot less traffic on the crypto to crypto exchange. We're seeing that traffic. We're not helping on that angle, right? We don't have the means to help on that. We're helping only when fiat is turned into crypto. So we're seeing that there's a decline on, on the trade volumes. There's very limited decline on the fiat to crypto. We are still seeing people purchasing primarily Bitcoin and Ether, not the rest of it, but primarily Bitcoin and Ether. And if you look at Bitcoin and Ether, it was anyway, the vast majority of the purchases before. It still is. And I think that now people are starting to see it more as an opportunity, especially the guys that are trying to do this as a business on their side, right? They see that as an opportunity, right? The rate at which the Bitcoin and Ether are at today is viewed as an opportunity for them for the future. So we're actually seeing a lot of the merchants we're helping increase their volumes over the past couple of months after they have decreased since since middle of last year.
Yeah, just like Warren Buffett says, buy when it's low, sell when it's high.
Exactly. Yes.
So,
exactly. Very simple, right? Very simple.
But people don't always listen to that. I don't know why. You have people, you have millionaires, billionaires that write books about this, and then the majority just like, oh no, I know better. I know better than them. So I'm going to do it my way. And then they end up getting greedy, and then they end up losing everything and getting a divorce and losing the house. So it's like,
let's hope it doesn't get that far. Let's hope it doesn't.
That's right. That's right. So can you share any events or moves that's going to happen with nSure.ai or nSure.ai?
Yeah, so we're a startup company, right? So a startup company is always on a journey to reduce risks, right? It starts from reducing the risk of can it work, right? The first thing you're trying to do as a startup is prove that your idea can actually work. And you implement what the industry calls an MVP, a minimum viable product, and you test it with a client or two, and you see whether it provides the value. So that's the first risk where we've done that. Second risk is what is normally called as product market fit. Product market fit means you've identified enough people, and we'll talk about what enough is in a minute, but enough people that are willing to pay for your service more than what it costs you to deliver it. So, because, for instance, I can share with you a service that I know has a great product market fit. But it's not a very good business. Let's say I have a service where you come in with $1, I give you $2. For every $1 you give me, I give you $2. Right? The product market fit is everybody, right? Everybody's going to want to come in, give me $1 and get back $2, and they'll try to do that as much as they can. And obviously, that's not a good business for me. So what I want to do is find people who are willing to give me $1 for something that it costs me to do half $1, right? And then it's still not profitable, but at least it's not losing on the value of the sale itself. So and you have to find enough of these organizations, if you're a B2B company, enough organizations that would be willing to pay you for that, and would be willing to pay you more than it costs you to deliver. And once you've identified that and you're getting to a certain range, and for B2B companies, could be a small handful number of customers that generate $1 million or $2 million a year. Well, you're getting substantial. If you are a B2C company, then you have tens of thousands of people that are there and a few thousands that are paying for the service. So you have to get a certain mass behind it. Say, okay, there's product market fit here. Great, you've checked another box. Now and we've done that too. So we've gone through these 2 check marks. Now there's another one, the next one. The next one is what the industry calls go-to-market fit. Go-to-market fit means that it's not only that you have enough people that are interested in the service and are willing to pay for it, but that you can you can acquire them as customers at the cost that is not prohibitive. And I'll give you an example. Let's say that I have a service that that costs me $50 per month, and you're willing to pay me $100. So I'm making $50 every month. Now let's assume that it costs me $50,000 to bring the customer, because I have to fly a team of people there, sit on their premises for a month, do a lot of work, and then come back home, and then the service starts. Every month, I get $50 from them, right? They pay me 100, it costs me 50, I get 50. So that means I need 1,000 months to cover the acquisition cost of that customer. 1,000
Right.
months is 80 years. Better not start, right? There's no point.
Mm-hmm.
If on the other hand, I can get the customer for $200, I can get them on board, for instance, through Google Ads. And every ad costs me $1, and 1 in every 200 people that presses the ad is actually becoming a client. Costs me $200 to get them. Now I make 50 every month. After 4 months, I've recovered the cost of getting them on board, and now I'm starting to make money.
Yeah, everybody loves to make money. So there you go.
Right? That's good. So now that means that you've identified your go-to-market fit. You understand how to get to the client, bring them on board at a cost that is not prohibitive.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for us, we're at that stage. We're at the stage where we have a list of clients. We're generating millions of dollars in revenue. However, at this point, we still don't have enough clients to average it out and say, okay, it costs us X to deliver a client, to get a client, and we can cover these costs in 3 to 6 months. We don't have enough data to say that. What we're going to do this year is prove that we can do that we can get customers at a cost that we can recover within 3 to 6 months. And once we're able to do that, we've proven go-to-market fit. Once you've done that, you go to the next step, and then you go to scale. Because then at that point, you're saying, give me $1, I'll make it 2. Not today, 3 months later, but every dollar you give me, I can make it 2. And then you can raise significant amounts of funds. So for instance, nSure so far has raised a total of $28 million. And we have a runway of 2 years, which means we'll run out of cash based on the plan we have at this point at the end of 24. We have 2 more years to prove this go-to-market fit, and then go and raise probably double that, in the range of 50 million and more, in order to be able to scale significantly and sell to many more customers. These are the main, that's the main milestones for nSure for next year.
All right. Thank you for sharing that.
Sorry for the long answer.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I'm glad you're explaining it pretty well. So let's go back to the people use though, real quick. How many customers do you have?
So at this point, we have 15 clients transacting with us. And we're doing a few millions of dollars a year of revenue. I'm not going to disclose the exact number, but a few millions of dollars.
Okay, I can respect that.
So each client is pretty, it's pretty significant.
Okay. So what's the company culture? How is it in the work environment at the office? How do you get, are you like Elon Musk and everybody jacked up and having, what is it? A fiesta or, what is it? A Rachi band?
No, we work really hard.
Okay.
It's a lot of hard work. I can tell you that, the holiday season is tough because the traffic is very high. Usually the amount of fraud is lower because the fraud stays about the same, but percentage-wise it's lower because there's lots more, legitimate clients. But the fact that there are a lot more traffic, it's harder to identify the fraudsters. So we've onboarded a couple of very large clients at the end of last year, and the end of the year has been, let's call it, challenging on our front of fighting fraud.
I'm sure.
So it's we're a tightly knit team. As I said, we're not a big company. We're about 50 people at this point. So it's a very tightly knit team. A big chunk of it is R&D. And, we're working very hard to make this a success.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. So how can people get in touch with you?
So the easiest way is to go online and then search for nSure.ai, which is nSure.ai. That's the website. That's the link to our company's website. And you can always look for me at Alex Zeltcer. It's Alex is Alex, and Zeltcer is slightly strange for spelling. It's Zeltcer. And you can look for me on LinkedIn, and I'm always there and always answering messages.
I'm going to put those links down in the description, by the way. So that would be great. And hey, man, is there any last words you want to share before we close? Anything that we didn't go over?
No, I think we kind of covered it.
Hey, I was very excited to have you on the show, and I really do wish you the best with your endeavors. And hopefully, we could link up together in person and have a cup of coffee or maybe a beer. If you do drink, I don't want to pressure you.
I do.
Okay. So great. We have something to look forward to, and yeah, man, let's stay in touch, and I'll see you in the future.
Excellent. Thanks a lot, Sonny. I appreciate your time, and thank you for having me over.
Anytime, man. Anytime. Take it easy.